Come have some fun and watch some games. Time to get crazy. It's night and day. Yeah. Night and day, back again.
Yes, we are back. Back with of Little Hope.
And also with weird dogs and cats dubstep remixes, but yeah, that was on the stream. Anyway, we're at the end of Little Hope. We found the good ending. We haven't seen it yet, but we're about to watch it, and you can join us on that journey.
Yes, indeed.
Let's see how it is.
Yeah.
And then we'll give our final thoughts on the whole final game. Is it awesome? Is it lame?
Yeah, exactly. I guess this is going to be the make or break because we've seen the other ending, and it was lackluster, to say the least. So we'll see if this changes anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was one of the first to follow the off spell. Now all of Little Hope is mesmerized by you.
I've not the words. Without you, I would be dead.
Mesmerized.
You saved me. I shall remember you all my days.
All right, so here we go.
Yep.
What's the final ending like? What do you mean you didn't save her?
Yeah.
Did you see the wrong ending?
Yeah, exactly.
You pretty much definitively saved her.
Yeah, isn't she not burning at the stake right now or something like that? Like, it should be okay. Seems like saving to me.
Yeah, we did find out that if you accuse Mary instead of the priest, that she does burn in the church.
Yeah, right.
So that matches what happened to her in the past.
Did it? It worked.
Okay. Yes. Oh, Taylor's here to greet him at the end instead of Angela.
100% you made the right call.
Huh.
That jerk of a priest was the real bad guy.
That's so interesting.
Sure, yeah.
It's the people that died in our original playthrough that all end up making it to the end there. Yeah.
But I don't. I feel nothing.
Wow.
Come on. Let's get out of here.
Voice acting is incredible, Andrew.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he even delivered the line about apathy more apathetically than it was appropriate.
Yeah.
I feel
What just
nothing.
happened?
As opposed to, I feel
We're all done.
nothing.
Yeah.
Like something with some emotion
Right.
about why he's sad that he's feeling that he doesn't feel more.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But damn.
You can tell he's disappointed. But
Right.
he's like not at the same time.
Right, he's not disappointed.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Anyway. Alright, so yeah, the whole team's here.
Yep. The gang's all here.
They all survived the night. Good.
Nice.
Now let's see some
Yeah.
payoff.
Hopefully something involving some witches would be great.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not all in his head.
Yeah.
There's some truth to it.
Exactly.
Because some of the material that we found in the house still makes it seem
Like there was some evil entity involved. Yeah.
And we found
Hey!
witchcraft related items all over the town.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, Vince.
I'm real sorry. I know it wasn't your fault.
What?
Wow.
How do
Okay.
you know that?
Both of us been through some real tough time these past years.
Yeah. So the
Okay.
real Vince was at the funeral.
About half
Yeah.
a mile or so, there's a diner with a working phone.
Thank you.
You call for help and you leave this place. And don't you ever come back.
Wait, what?
Ain't nothing left here for you.
Oh, he's saying don't come back for your own good. not
Right.
Don't come back because I still blame you.
Yeah, exactly. I thought he was just like, don't come back here or I'll beat the crap out of you kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Okay, so that does... Oh, cool. So he's still... Oh, it's the same
It's
diner.
the same diner, yeah. Okay. Interesting. So the fog has lifted.
How fucking great does this feel?
So everyone is still here.
Yeah.
Does that mean these are real people
so
now?
happy we all made it out of here.
Because that does not make sense with
My
the other
ass
ending.
is
But
still getting fired tomorrow.
So?
yep, John takes
the deal now,
responsibility,
Yeah.
even
I
though
don't know.
this really wasn't his fault.
But stick around. Let's see what happens.
Love.
Oh, romance. Cute. I guess. Not to Angela though.
Less cute if her hand wasn't covered with like
Yeah.
mutant zombie.
Goo or
Yeah.
sut or whatever.
Sinew.
Yeah.
That's gonna haunt me forever.
I mean, Vince
You're
was
not alone
still.
here.
Take it easy on
We've all
yourself.
been through
You know
hell.
that, right?
We're finally getting out of this hell.
Okay, Okay, so it's still he's still the bus driver because that made sense because Vince was still treating him like he was the original Anthony.
Right, yeah.
I just wish we all could have made it.
And everyone of the team is now like, oh, we forgive you. It wasn't your fault.
Kind of. Yeah, exactly.
Which he can only reconcile that idea
traffic through Little Hope.
if they are
Vince-
all like. If he saves them from a puritanical nightmare witch scenario with mutants and monsters, that's the only way he can forgive him. Oh, well, anyway, let's see the whole ending.
Yeah,
maybe there's still
I just
more.
want to get these folks to where they need to be.
So now they're still showing the big reveal, even though there's no way this could be the
I doubt a short
first
delay
time
trouble.
playing. I guess it could be. You could make those decisions
Maybe,
the first time through.
yeah.
It wasn't that out of the realm of impossibility.
It just, it seems unlikely that you'd be able to do it, but not impossible.
Yeah, some percentage of people, this is their first time through.
Can everyone just shut up? This isn't helping us find help or getting us out of here.
All right.
Still love the idea of him having conversations with himself as he wanders through this town.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, he's just yelling
Hi
in the
there.
middle, and this town
How you doing?
is still a regular town, it seems like, because Vince still lives here.
Right.
Excuse
So,
me, but we're looking for our bus
What?
driver.
Weird, it's hard to say.
You seen him?
Because Vince is here with his own light. This bar is not
that is
operational.
true. Yeah, that is true.
But we
Sounds
know
like you
that
could
the
use a
town has power.
Better not.
Right.
Thanks. Need a clear head.
And Vince didn't necessarily recognize him at that point. Or at least not enough to like call the
What the
cops
hell
on
is
him.
going on in
Yeah.
there?
Get the hell out of here!
I'll go once I look you in the eye. Now let me in.
Okay, so he knows. Then.
Yeah, that is the big thing that changes the ending, guys. We'll explain that after the whole ending scene
I
plays
don't
out.
think he gets how bad a mess we're in.
Right.
But that scene right there
That's the
was
major
key
factor,
scene.
yeah.
Yeah, which you never would guess.
Yeah,
That
for
playing
sure.
through it.
For sure.
Okay, so he's not in a cop car, but it seems
Okay.
like they're
But that's it.
tying themselves to this ending. All right, what do you have
Yeah.
to say, Curator?
Yeah, really.
Come on, give this some better context.
That's it. Game over. You're done. For now, at least. You could always try again, see if you can get a different result.
That's what we're trying right now.
Yeah, exactly. We're working towards that.
Oh, a little applause this time.
Okay,
You got
yeah.
the best ending.
Congratulations. Your single charge found a way through the guilt, the horror, and came away whole. And you eventually found him. The bus driver. Maybe he can now put the past behind him.
What it took
But-
for him to be able to do that
Yeah,
is
really.
beyond sanity.
Yeah, for
Literally.
sure.
All right, see you in the next game, buddy.
Yeah, really. Deuces. It's been fun, kind of.
Really? That's
We'll
it?
meet
Okay.
again.
Oh, that's
Maybe
it.
in the South Pacific.
Yeah.
Or the Arabian Desert. Or somewhere else.
We'll see. They're calling it a trilogy.
Yeah.
But, we'll
But
see.
we will
Exactly.
meet again.
Wow. It's pretty
At
bit
least one more
presumptuous.
time.
Are they saying he's the Grim Reaper?
Oh,
Because
right.
that line makes sense in that context, in not many contexts.
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah. That's very true. Unless they mean they're only doing one more game.
Yeah,
But-
so it's one of those. But the Grim Reaper line means like even if you don't buy the next game, it makes
It still makes sense.
yeah. All right, so no matter what, even on the good ending, they are tied to the concept
They say the soul
of
Yeah.
the bus driver. It was all a delusion.
Son of a bitch!
Yeah, exactly. That so none of that happened regardless of the ending. It's just how you react to that, I guess, is it. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely, like we said before, I would have loved if there was just some version of it where like any of that makes sense.
Right.
But like for him to say that, like for him to basically create this entire thing, yeah, most relationship decreases.
Yeah, you couldn't get the longest reading this time because we skipped it on this.
Right.
We just, you know, wanted to see the differences.
Right.
So they gave you most relationship decreases. That's interesting.
Well, welcome to my life, I guess. Yeah, that is very interesting.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But yeah, I just find it like just insane that he has like created this whole world in his mind that like exists with Puritans and like this just the evil like spirits and this demon or whatever that has taken hold and now cursed this family forever kind of thing. But yeah, it's just oh wow. Most trait increases, but most relationship decreases.
Huh.
Very weird.
Well, you can increase the negative traits also.
Oh, yeah.
And you can increase positive traits in a way that other people don't like.
Yeah, that is true.
It's not completely unforeshadowed.
Mm-hmm.
They showed at the beginning that there were witchcraft books in the house.
Yep.
I guess, like, when Anthony picked them up, he's like, oh, this is a diversion from this madhouse or something like that.
Yeah.
And then there was the witchcraft book also that the bus driver had in the bus.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess they're saying, oh, Anthony is a kind of person who his whole life he's had an interest in witchcraft. Like, okay, there's some foreshadowing there,
right.
but not enough, I don't think, to justify. He gets into a bus accident. He comes out of it all like, you know, he had a concussion or whatnot.
Right.
But a concussion at this level, I don't think has ever been experienced. Like, he comes up with this whole elaborate thing where he's his younger self, but not. He's not even 70s Anthony, which you could maybe think, okay, he's dizzy from the bus accident, so he comes out as 70s Anthony.
Yeah, right.
Makes sense. But no, it's a modernized version. It's 2018 or whatever, Anthony.
Right.
Plus the whole team, like, who have all been upgraded, and his mind creates all these different personalities based on his family.
Yep.
And creates this time warp rift traveling interaction with certain people from Puritan times who are also based on him and his family.
Exactly, yeah.
In order to all come together and find a way for these family members to like ultimately forgive him for something that he knows he never did.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, from a concussion?
Yeah.
It would be hard for somebody to purposefully plot this shit out.
Right, yeah, exactly.
It could be done, but it would take time and effort, and it's like, this guy's doing his best writing work from a concussion?
Yeah.
And there's plot holes. It's not even... Okay, fine, but it's not perfect, but it's pretty intricate in this complicated interwoven threads here.
Yeah.
From a concussion?
Yeah.
He's a bus driver.
Yeah.
He's not an author. He's not like a fiction writer. Like, I don't... He's a bus driver who bonked his head.
Yeah.
I don't see this as the result, guys.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know in what world, like, a lot of things have to go either like very right or very wrong, depending on what your outlook on it is. But for all of these things to align for him to get to this point is just, it's insane.
Waking up from a coma would have made more sense.
That would definitely, yeah, exactly. That would have made more sense because, he's like, now he's just totally knocked out. He can create whatever world he wants to now in that universe, and it's like, it still would be cool if they didn't really like introduce the Puritan thing, if that wasn't going to play any role in the major story arc, or maybe like create more of the mystery of it, to where you could actually come to the conclusion, oh, that's not real or something like that. But the coma would have definitely made a lot more sense if they went that route. Maybe if it was a coma from even the bus accident. It's like, okay, that would suck, but still, at least it makes more sense. Right. This is just, he's just walking around mumbling everywhere and and trying to make out with himself. So it's just like, it's a little bit hard to believe. I also would have, like, I guess accepted it more if the thing that he created wasn't really interesting.
Right.
Like I really wanted to know so much more about this Puritan like level thing, and like if it was a demonic force or this curse on the family or something. And like so they create this awesome world, and then they like literally just rip it from under you like immediately at the end there. So it's like, yeah, not only is it like insane to think that he would like have all of these things just put together in his mind in this like very intricate specific way, but for it to be all just like boom, it was all a dream kind of thing again, is just like it makes it super kind of like cheap after that, because I really wanted to see so much more, and there's so much more interesting stuff going on instead of just Anthony needing to forgive himself or whatever.
Right.
Like, yeah.
That could be a well done plot, but yeah. So basically what we're getting at is, because of the ending, we saw the best ending now, and it was a little bit better, but it still, our original criticisms still apply. The best ending still didn't create a new overall context. They're still hinging the entire story as being a delusion of Anthony. That's a hard sell, because a delusion of this intricate level I don't think has ever occurred from a concussion. And so in any case, and like Travis is saying, guys, if like it's an interesting story to see the mental illness and to see, okay, this guy has to find a way to forgive himself. He's always blamed himself for what happens.
Right, for sure.
That is an interesting story, and a delusion as a way to figure that out can be well told.
Yeah.
But in this case, their primary focus was the horror game. And that's great, because this is apparently a series, but if your horror elements and the delusion that you're presenting it has this cool this mystery to it and its own set of rules and this whole tunnel that you're following down, then if that's much more compelling and much more interesting, if that whole world you've created is more compelling than the mental illness, this guy trying to restore it or find a way to forgive himself story, then it doesn't work very well.
Right.
You feel like, oh, but I wanted to get to the answers of that, and that's what you've invested in as the person playing the game or watching the movie or whatever.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, so in this case, it's like they kind of messed up in that way. So yeah, our original criticisms still apply, and part of the reason why is because the other part of the story was intriguing and well done.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like it's two-sided in that way, where not only was like the mental illness part of it not like it was out of nowhere, I guess, in that sense. So it just kind of like it blindsides you there. But then also on the other side of that, you really don't want to be blindsided by anything but what the actual story that you've invested in is. So you just want to get down to the actual details of what's happening in the story that you've invested so much time in, and the horror elements of this whole game, and then to find out that the horror elements of this whole game mean nothing again. Like, so like none of the consequences actually like have any value anymore. So it's like, okay, you were literally just wandering the streets, like yelling at yourself and trying to come to terms with this accident that happened to your family, which is of course tragic, but like for this to I guess launch you over the edge of this cliff that is going to make you break and create this whole new world, it's just, I think, that seems a little over the top, and that's putting it very, very lightly. Yeah, for sure.
Suspension of disbelief on he had a delusion from a concussion is too extreme.
Yeah.
So, and the other parts of this, what is Little Hope? Is the town fully abandoned?
Yeah.
If the town is fully abandoned, why is Vince there? Mm-hmm. Is Vince visiting? Is this the anniversary? Maybe we missed a key date.
Maybe
on a clock somewhere, because there were a few things. Like I think one of the clocks near the end said April 18th. Maybe that was the exact date of his the family fire or something, and they connected that, and we didn't catch it.
Right.
But why would Vince be in this town? If the town is still in operation, we didn't see any sound. It looked like a legit ghost town where no one lived there, but then it had power. So there's a few things here that are confusing. If Vince still lives there, why was the bar shut down? Is he the bartender? Like he was just there with a kerosene lamp, it looked like, as opposed to the bar being operational. Did he just happen to come by the exact same time that Anthony just happened to come here through a detour and crash his bus?
Right.
Like, why is Vince there? Did Vince never get over what happened 40 years ago, just like Anthony didn't? I mean, Anthony saw his whole family burned in front of him. That's pretty tragic. That could mess somebody up for his whole life. Vince heard about it later and went to his girlfriend's funeral.
Right.
I mean, sure, he's into the girl, but 40 years later, he never moved on. I mean, it shows that there's flowers at the grave. That must have been Vince.
Right.
And like his stuff is still around there. The sun symbol we found out was related to Vince.
Yeah, his car's still there. Like,
right.
From
Well, his old car looks like he just
he just left
parked it there and just started walking one day.
I guess so. Walked straight to the bar, I guess, after that. Yeah.
So maybe he was we're supposed to believe he was that devoted to Tanya.
Yeah.
And they like.
If they were like married or something like that super early on. Yeah, totally. I get it. Yeah, I get it. But it's just like it's crazy to think that he was like so invested. I don't know how long they were dating. If it wasn't like 10 years, then I don't know how like you would be so beholden to like your girlfriend that died.
No, we know it wasn't that long because Dennis at the beginning didn't know her.
Yeah, oh, right.
It's like, that's the new boyfriend. And Anthony's like, oh, I like him. So they're just talking about him for the first time.
Right, yeah.
So they can't have been dating for 10 years. They could have kept it secret from the family, but not for 10 freaking years when she's only 20 years old.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So definitely some stuff that doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Oh, I did notice on editing that, you know how we walked through the graveyard and we thought all of the headstones was there?
Yeah.
Anthony's wasn't actually there.
Okay.
So we just assumed or we counted that there were 5 headstones and we didn't realize, there's 6 total people with Megan because the whole game is like 5 people, 5 people, 5 people.
Right.
Or maybe we thought that the main headstone in back. Anyway, we didn't catch it. We were specifically looking to see, did the whole family die there?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So that is a big clue that Anthony was still alive and he survived. And then later they show the newspaper clippings that so Anthony made it out alive and that the town blamed him
for that. Yeah.
That gives you some sort of foreshadowing that Anthony could be the bus driver, although it's such a leap.
Yeah, exactly. By that point, you have you have this I guess the minimum requirement, I guess, of maybe making that jump. But I don't think anyone would really just go there immediately. There's no solid evidence there. So they have bus driver that wanted sign or whatever that they had there. And then they had a couple things here and there that maybe you could create that correlation, but to make that immediate assumption and then go based on that so you could see this coming, just I think is very out of left field for that.
Yeah, I think there was enough foreshadowing to tell you that Vince was the guy from the past, was Tanya's boyfriend, especially if you caught and remembered that he had the sun medallion during the funeral, which we didn't catch because there's sun medallion influences all over the town Little Hope. So that means Vince is a relevant presence. He's still sticking around. That's his symbol. But later we didn't catch that initial sun medallion reference and connect that to Vince, but at least that connection is there to be had. Vince is that guy, and we thought maybe he's that guy. But the Anthony is really the bus driver and having this complicated delusion it's not a connection that is foreshadowed enough. It's just, especially when the whole other thing is there's multiple timelines throughout history. That is one of the funniest things to think about. So the whole time Anthony bus driver is just walking around the town. Hey, but no, don't you think we should do? It's after me. Oh no, that one's after you. Let's split up. So what happens when he says let's split up? And literally, there's Team Taylor with Taylor and Daniel, and the other 3 in different places.
Exactly.
Is he having is he blacking out and he's going to one place and then wandering over to the other place and blacking out during the parts that
in between
apart?
Yeah.
And then they rejoin and his consciousness, how advanced is this guy's delusion?
Exactly. Is he knocked out and this is a dream? But it's obviously not, because when you get to the diner and or the police picks you up, you're fully conscious and you're able to talk to Vince and everything. So it would make no sense at all for him to just be I guess having like 5 parallel like realities running at the same time.
Yeah.
And just
or at least 2. Because the team splits up in 2 different locations multiple times.
Yeah, and then they're like weaving in and out because they'll come together, go back apart. Like all this stuff would be absolutely insane. I mean, that would break his brain, like for sure. If you're like just running that much nonstop, that's ridiculous.
And yeah, it's just hilarious to see him like, in order for his brain to make this work, he's like, okay. Oh yeah, now we're in the museum, and then he like sprints across town to where Taylor and Daniel are,
exactly.
And then he like warps back into his mentality, like where he's believing everything again. Like, oh man, oh, that monster almost got us.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just like picking up right where they left off and just like sprinting back to the other sides of town. And if it's not a complete ghost town, people in their house are just like watching this guy just sprint across, just yelling, "It's after me!" And then like nothing is there ever.
And then he's just having a normal conversation with himself right after that.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And then what about the parts where they go back and retread ground? Like Taylor and Daniel went to the museum after the other 3 did.
Right, yeah,
so it's just like, oh yeah, here's the poppet. Oh, okay, cool. Let's put it down. And then like an hour later, oh yeah, here's this poppet. What do you think about that? I'm not sure. Oh, interesting. Like he's just constantly. Oh, and you know what would be hilarious? What about the parts where like Taylor and Daniel are hitting on each other? He's just like sitting there having a conversation with himself.
Right.
Like, oh, how you doing, baby?
Yeah.
This is,
oh, we need one of those heroes.
Yeah.
He's just like flirting with himself. He's like, oh, she wants me.
Yeah, and he's just thinking in his own mind.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, this is going pretty good for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Things might be working out here.
And then it's also weird because if this is supposed to be like, I guess not Anthony but Andrew, then is he saying that Tanya and his brother or whatever are now in the romantic relationship?
Yeah, that's what I thought earlier on.
Right.
Like the timeline thing, because that would have still made sense. But now it's like,
now
where did this even come from?
Right. Now you're hallucinating that even if you're not like blood relatives or whatever, you're still thinking that your adopted brother and adopted sister are going to get together romantically. And he's just psychotic for that. In general, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, or it came out of nowhere. Or it's explained in the other scenes, because we found the other scenes. When you play through the game a second time, you can see the other perspectives, or different perspectives in some of the scenes. Not all of the scenes, but it's like we said at the very beginning, if you have the shared play version instead of the movie night version, then 2 people have 2 different interfaces, where the one person has the interface that we just played through the game as, and the other person has the after you play the game again, and you have a second playthrough interface where it shows different perspectives. For example, at the beginning of the game, you're playing as Anthony, walking around the house like this in a very dainty, frolicky way, and then
he's just skipping around, like, picking up books on witches and stuff.
Yeah, tra-la-la, Satan. And then like Tanya shows up with her boyfriend Vince in the car. But if you play the following version, then you play as Tanya driving up with Vince in the car, so you see different dialogue and different perspectives. So maybe that would have implied that she and Vince were like this ultra serious, but I don't know, like you said, unless they've been dating anyway. Anyway, so you get a different perspective. We haven't seen all of that, so I'm sure that adds certain amount of information to this to make things make more sense. But in some cases, because of the nature of the delusion, certain things are just not going to make sense. Oh man, what about the scene where Taylor wanted to kiss Daniel?
Yeah, make out with Daniel right after the monster was like right there.
Yeah, but what if we said yes? Is like
yeah, is he just like sitting there like
the bus driver just in the middle of the street? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know how long I've been waiting for you to say those words.
Exactly.
And he's just
just come here, girl, and he's just like dips like in nothingness, or it's just like a twig or something like that,
or maybe something would interrupt them there, no matter what.
Maybe
one of the monsters would come back, but it didn't look like it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just hilarious to picture. Either way. Oh man,
there's so many like different weird scenarios. It's like, why would this happen ever in the world? Oh man. And
So-
like, yeah, it's just insane to think. It's like, did none of it really, like, when Daniel broke through the floor of the factory, and he's being picked up by Andrew or whatnot, then did he actually fall through the floor? And he's just like reaching up and like tiptoeing to pretend that like he's being lifted up, or did he not fall through the floor at all? And then yeah, again it splits up. So now his consciousness is like, oh, I gotta run like to the opposite side.
Yeah, he
really
dives
quick.
in the hole and runs and sprints away.
Exactly.
He's like fighting pretend monsters for his life, and then he runs all the way back, and he climbs out of the hole, and
then,
he does the Andrew.
Exactly. And then he's like, all right, gotta get back to my
Daniel.
storyline. Yeah, like through the hole and whatever. Yeah, it's just insane.
Yeah. So any of the things where it splits off, it's hard to picture what the real bus driver's doing at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Splitting his consciousness and all this, and actually running back and forth to two different locations to live it. I mean, you could say that he's not anything that's not in the sight of Anthony, Andrew, whatever. He's not actually taking the time to do that. But I mean, you as the player, maybe when Daniel's off screen, he didn't live that part. But when Daniel and Taylor are together, you're finding things.
Yeah.
They go to the playground and Andrew never does. So
Right.
you're finding things that exist in the town. So in some of these parts, he's going to different places. Anyway, it's hilarious to think about. It doesn't really work in what they were trying to do. That's the problem.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And these other things that they're finding in the town are, we assume, really there. Maybe the damage doesn't happen to the town because that one part of the flashback scene where the bus driver is going over the bridge and the bridge is fully intact.
Yeah, that's
kind of
true.
implies
That
not
everything
everything
was
is
totally
happening.
fine. Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the things that we find in the town are there
Yeah.
because they impact the ending. Like he's picking up papers and like these papers are legit there.
Right, and the gun exists.
The gun exists
Yeah,
for sure, yeah.
for sure,
So
yeah.
there's all this witchcraft stuff that is in the town that he's picking up. So Little Hope did have this history of witchcraft, but it's not full delusion. He's interacting with the real world. And, oh yeah, that was the other thing we wanted to cover. The Vince thing. The thing that changes the ending the most isn't saving everyone.
Oh, yeah.
That's part of it. But the thing that you don't expect is Vince.
Yeah.
He plays the huge role.
Yeah,
we had
exactly.
to... Yeah, we found that the thing that changes it is that part where you have a gun and the monster is chasing the team and they go and hide in this building. Maybe it's a church.
Yeah, the church, yeah.
And before they barricade themselves in, it's coming still on the road and Vince is there. Right? And then you have the gun and you shoot at the monster or not. So we were shooting at the monster to stop the monster and to save Vince
Vince, yeah,
potentially.
right.
There's a demon monster
Right.
chasing him.
Exactly, yeah.
But if you do that, you get the bad ending, or you remove from the good ending.
Yeah.
You get arrested and thrown in the cop car. Because the whole thing is, Vince is like, oh, you're shooting at me, even though you're clearly, guys, if you're there and I'm shooting here, I'm not shooting at you, and you know I'm not shooting at you. So anyway, Vince was he was drunk, or he was drinking, so he might have misinterpreted that. That's kind of realistic. That's the major thing. If you don't shoot at Vince, Vince likes you better. And he doesn't get offended, and he doesn't call the cops.
Right.
So you get that other ending where he's like, hey, just go to the diner, I forgive you.
Right.
But if you do shoot, even if our intention was to help Vince,
yeah, exactly.
Vince takes offense, and you get into a cop car. So that, most of the rest of the choices for the ending, for all the characters to find redemption and become better people, those choices are like, do the right thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So this one choice is like, seems completely anti the theme of the game and the message of the game. But that's how you get the better ending.
Right, yeah, exactly. And you have no reason to believe that demon monster won't also kill Vince at that point.
That's the first time.
Exactly. So that's like the first iteration of someone that's not in the group is now a part of like this world that's created or whatever, and where the monsters are chasing you and whatnot. So obviously, yeah, you want to do the right thing and help Vince if you can, but there's no real way to know that you're actually doing the opposite, and it's seemingly putting Vince at risk because you're shooting at him. But yeah, there's no way to know that unless they like intentionally. There is some replay value in this game. They want you to like do other things, make other choices, but like at the same time, you kind of want to be able to gauge the the story and like how the story moves forward and progresses with your relationship with like Vince and the other people on the team. So if you don't have that prior knowledge, there's no way to know, and you're just shooting yourself in the foot, or just shooting in midair. But like, yeah, you're just shooting yourself in the foot in getting the terrible ending or the bad ending or whatnot. So yeah, that kind of, it sucks that you have no way of knowing that, and the only way to know that is to replay the game again. So,
yeah.
And that's just not great storytelling, I don't think. Is like, okay, I need prior knowledge to get into this to be able to do what I want to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's done intentionally as replay value, because it's one of the few decisions in the game that's counter message and like counterintuitive. Oh, don't shoot here. So, yeah, it doesn't. It's another one of those things that's, it's a little bit hard to say that it works. It's not conceptual for the ending. It's just like, is that the logical way that you would get the better ending? Vince seems to have a much larger role in it, because I guess the real story is just about Vince and Anthony, as opposed to these 5 people who you think the story is about.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I guess the framing element of the beginning of the game is still a little bit confusing, because they did show Megan talking with a demon behind her.
Yeah.
About, oh, I guess you're right.
Exactly.
My family is never going to change, or something like that. If that demon existed, then that means that there is a certain element of demonic entity.
In exactly.
Little Hope, which means like, what?
Yeah.
How much? It's clearly at the end he imagined the people, because there are no people.
Right.
Which means like there can't be the Puritan version of the people.
Yeah.
If there are mundane answers for everything, what does that mean for the Dark Pictures Anthology?
Right.
Is the whole universe, the whole shared universe, all the horror games are just like, and the logical explanation was this. And it's all just like, this guy is just a detective from Scotland Yard, and Curator's like, aha, well, now we have ruled out. It's just Scooby-Doo.
Right.
The whole game is Scooby-Doo.
Exactly, yeah. And then you can't, like, especially as a horror game, as it's framed as a horror game, like, you're not going to go into it like really scared of anything. Like, they're gonna have jump scares here and there. Even in the beginning of this, they got me with a couple jump scares because like you're so on edge, there's tension there. But like now knowing what we know, like, and even like replaying it with the other stuff, like I'm not afraid of anything, because like there is no consequences for any of this. Like, like, yeah, even if somebody dies, it's like they're gonna do it in like a graphic way or something like that. So that's a little bit weird, but like, or nerving or something like that. But yeah, even they're not really dying, so no one's dying. Like, these Puritan people don't exist, even though they jump in your face. Like, all of that just means nothing. Right. So you're just wandering around in the woods, just scared for no reason, really. Yeah, I mean, bears will attack you and eat you more than you are like in danger. Then, like, all this horror element of the game is actually like creating for you. So
yeah,
that's
the only stakes are, will Anthony forgive himself? That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
So if he does, that's great, because it's been 40 years and he should. Yeah. But if he doesn't, it's not the end of the world. Like, it's not a life and death thing. Yeah. His life is already screwed for the last 40 years. It'll be great if the next, 30 to 40 years of his life are happier.
Yeah, he's at peace or something like that. But like,
it's not going to make or break. There aren't lives at risk. Those stakes are actually pretty low. Yeah, like you're saying. And then what does that mean for the Dark Pictures Anthology? Is everything fake? Did no lives matter? Do the other games like Life and Death are actually, there are horror elements that are mystical or fantastical in nature? Right. And then it makes sense. And then why is this game different? So it's either this game is not consistent with the other whole Dark Pictures Anthology whole universe that they're trying to build. Right. Or it is, and the whole universe is kind of brought down because it's all just mundane, boring. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's
just people on their own like journeys, as opposed to something mystical or supernatural happening. Yeah. And then you're not really scared about anything at that point. So it's just like, okay, now you're on these like different like spirit quests instead of an actual horror game that you're playing. Right. So yeah, that would change up the anthology like desperately, or like immensely, I should say.
If you guys know the whole scope of the Dark Pictures Anthology, if you guys know that the horror elements in those games are legit, then yeah, please let us know. because I'm curious how this game fits into the whole anthology. If it's kind of detracting the anthology and it's kind of an outlier, or if the whole thing is supposed to be rooted in reality and there aren't any actual horror elements. It's all just like perception sort of things. Where in another game, maybe it's not mental. It's just there's this monster that's attacking everyone in the town, and they find out later it's a bear or a rare species of something. As opposed to like an actual demon.
Like, the
investigators are checking. Yeah, so I don't know. If the whole series is like rooted in reality, then I don't know. It's just kind of disappointing. At least if the other games are similar to this one, where the fantastical story is so much more interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I would have, loved to see them at least follow through with something of the supernatural or something of the mystical, or like even have that be open to if they wanted to have this anthology and like put all on maybe the next game to say like, oh, there is supernatural elements, at least like tease that a little bit more, but don't like just rip it away from you all like immediately, because they basically was like, oh, there's logical solutions to everything, there's nothing mystical, there's nothing supernatural. The Puritan thing was literally just a farce essentially, so you're kind of done at that point with anything mystical. But yeah, that would be cool to see it, like if they did want to introduce that later on, then just plant the seeds. They already did a good job there. Just continue that forward. And you could still have a slightly more logical solution to this, but like don't just completely brush it under the rug and get rid of it entirely. So I had fun playing it for sure. So it's not like it was all bad. And like in the beginning when the mystery is relevant and the gameplay is fun. Because like we were talking about earlier, like the cuts between the different characters, like how they handle that, and even like the interface with the QuickTime events and stuff like that can be fun to actually play. So it's fun getting to those points, like getting to that point. And I guess when you don't know like that all of this doesn't really have much stakes, the tension is very high and it makes for really good gameplay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like I love that fact of it for sure, but like and then when you take it all like to the very end, then it like kind of retracts from a lot of the cool aspects of it. So,
I mean it's so true.
Yeah.
We were having a great time. We were invested in the story, and a lot of the game up until the ending was really awesome and intriguing. Awesome, like you said, the scares at the beginning were much more impactful. Now, of course, playing it through it multiple times, then they lose their impact. But we were having such a good time. It's that ending, and some people are like, well, it's about the journey, not the destination. But storytelling, both have to be good. If you, like we've said before, you can't just drop and then he woke up and be like, okay, that was a waste of time.
Okay, great story, loved it, like, and move on to the next one.
Or like if you just said Infinity War, like Marvel Cinematic Universe, Infinity War, Endgame. If at the end of Endgame, all of Thanos' ships, all of the giant forces that were coming in were replaced with watermelons, and that's the end of the movie, you would not think that was a good movie. Even if it, like, everything was amazing up to that point, and then a Falcon, Cap on your left, and then all the Avengers jump in, and you're like, what? This is the best! Watermelons. You're like, 3 hours? Hours? No, Disney. No, mother. Not good. So you would still say the end of that. It doesn't matter how good the journey is sometimes. If you put a destination that is absolute crap, Chloe, then I can't help it. If you put a destination that's absolute crap, you can't actually say the journey. It was the whole thing. The journey the overall was great. So the ending killed this for us. It was just
son of a bitch.
Exactly. Like I loved getting to this point, or getting to that point of like even getting to the house. Like up until that house was so awesome. The final fight with John and his person, and I'm sure like Angela was alive. She had a fight with hers. I wonder if like Taylor was alive, maybe she'd have a final confrontation with hers. But yeah, it was just like all that stuff that culminated was just so awesome and so cool, and like we were so invested because the story was just so interesting. And then yeah, for all of that to be taken away, it just eats away at all the other cool stuff that we had lived through. And I just love the idea of just like Cap on your left, and it's just like a watermelon flies through the portal. It like hits Thanos in the face. He's like, "I'm allergic to watermelon." And that's like the whole thing. Yeah, game over. But yeah, that was essentially what it was like for this. Was just a watermelon to Thanos' face of Little Hope, and that was it. So
I was thinking even differently. Like Thanos and all of the bad guys were just replaced with watermelon.
Yeah.
Fade to black.
Yeah. There's no dialogue anymore.
Right.
It's just like
budget
boom,
done.
Watermelon, and it's just poorly done watermelons too. It's just
it's
like
clip art.
Exactly. Yeah. Just like over Thanos is like you can see his arm. It's just a white background watermelon. It's hilarious. But
Cap and Falcon look at each other, and there's.
Yeah.
And that's just instant
just
cut
boom.
to black.
Yeah, exactly. Roll credits and everything's great.
Phase 4 is back to Gary Salty Peach's farm, where they're just growing watermelons. That's Marvel Phase 4.
I mean, there's still a lot of like positives to the game, although like besides the ending, like the graphics on it were pretty awesome, especially like the demons, like the zombie demons or whatever. Like the John's zombie demon guy was so like unnerving and like gross, and they animated him in such a like crazy way. It was so cool. And like even like the first instance of when you see Angela's demon, and it's just like crawling out by the hand, like wrapped in the chains and everything like that. Like they did a pretty good job of like doing the graphics, especially of the demons.
They looked really freaky. They were definitely unnerving. Yeah, Angela's demon, like throwing up that black tar like substance. That was nasty.
Exactly.
It was really freaky and creepy. Oh, you know what I found out when we checked out the other endings? I found out there's a different way in the story. If you interact differently in the story, then past Tabitha, Tanya, one of the past Tanya, Puritan Tanya. We called her Tabitha for the book author Tanya, but I don't know. The past one I think was Tabitha. The Puritan one I think was Tabitha. I don't remember what the book author was called, like Tilly or something. But anyway, effing balls knacker. the past Tabitha can die a different way. Instead of getting burnt, she can actually be hung.
Oh wow!
And if she is hung in the past, her zombie is totally different. It's not this thing with like the stake, from the fire attached to her back. It's like this disembodied zombie that kind of like floats after you because it was hung to death.
No way.
Yeah, so that sounds
awesome.
really creepy.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's the only one where they did a totally different zombie depending on your actions and how they affected her in the past. So I really like that. I would have actually liked if they had done more of that.
Right, yeah,
so
for sure.
I understand that it's hard for them to do that because of the cost, but it's so awesome.
Yeah, for sure. That is pretty sick that you can, like, I mean, you can influence what would be your demise at the end of that too. That's pretty cool, for sure. And I mean, even the way that Taylor died, it just literally just touches you, and then that's it. It's just fire engulfs you and everything like that. Like the death scenes were pretty impactful for sure, like to say the least. And even in the beginning when the family, like you got to see the family die, it was like insane. That is interesting that you can change what happens, because we saw like Taylor's past like burn up. So like that shows that there is potential other ways that you could die other than like this like predetermined thing that has to happen. But that is pretty cool. I would love to see like the floating demon just come after you and stuff. That would be so unnerving and crazy.
Yeah, I'll throw a quick scene of that so you guys can see it. But man, whew. Yeah, definitely one of the cool, like you said, the zombies were definitely one of the highlights. Or I guess they're not zombies, but the
demon possessions? I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, exactly.
The corpses are trying to reenact the deaths of the characters. It takes too long to say, so we're never going to say it again.
Yeah.
But you know what we mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Monsters.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, exactly. I think you can get through with just that. But either way, was a huge fan of how they were animated and how just crazy and unnerving they were when they were coming after you. Because, wow, yeah, they looked really awesome.
QuickTime events were pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. Like especially like with Daniel, after you found out you can actually like fight them and stuff like that. Like that was pretty awesome to have QuickTime events, and especially like in a lot of horror games and stuff like that, where you can't. It's not like when you pull out the gun, like you're 100% safe now.
Right.
And if it gets you, then you're 100% dead. Like there is this middle ground where you can try and fight, and if you do it all well and you actually like have that reaction time and are able to do it, then you can survive a decent amount of the interactions. So that is pretty cool that your fate is literally like in your hands in that regard. So it was always interesting. Yeah, you never know what that QuickTime event's going to be, so you're always on edge to try and make it through. And they had a lot of like really cool ones too, like the Daniel fighting scenes and like even like pulling out the gun and hitting some of the zombies and stuff like that was really cool. And the sledgehammer scene with
the
with
tag
John.
team ones were pretty awesome.
Yeah, those were awesome for
and
sure.
the ones with Angela's chains, that was pretty well animated.
For sure.
The chains are flying out and trying to drag her down. Yeah, definitely some awesome scenes. All right, so anyway. Yeah, the ending. No, you can't have. We woke up. It was all a dream. It undercuts everything. In order to use the "it was all a dream" ending, you really gotta foreshadow better, and you have to have, that gotcha element of where like everything was planted, the seeds were planted for that as much as the other. And for this particular one, we were having so much fun with the other mystical, magical, horror elements.
Yeah.
And you know what? They still might, like we said before, they might not have eliminated all of them just because that intro scene had a demon in it. It's so unusual. So it's basically, if the framing scene was legit history before the delusion, then there's still a demon in this damn story.
Then,
if it wasn't, if the framing opening scene was just already part of the delusion,
right, exactly,
of Anthony, then okay, maybe it's that's him trying to say the justification for the fire was this demon, and he's already inventing and rewriting history.
Maybe, yeah. Then is that his like subconscious creating this to try and like help him? I don't know, like forgive himself or something like that, or is that actually history? And now, like you're saying, there is a demon running around because there was supernatural things happening in the house before the fire was started. So, like, all of that had to be, like, I can't imagine that it's just, like, a one-time thing, and this demon shadow, like, this insane, like, creature just was a figment of imagination, too, and then, like, none of this means, like, any demonic force or any superstitious thing or supernatural thing had happened, then it's just like, okay, it's all just a delusion. And then there is no way forward in the anthology for you to use that anymore. Like, you've just, again, taken away a really cool element that you could have used into the future games, too. So, yeah.
Maybe they do. Like, maybe this demon creature will be the subtle thing that ties the universe together.
Maybe.
But we didn't see anything about that when we were checking out how to get the various endings. Nothing said that this demon was also in Man from Medan.
Right.
So that ties it together and makes it real. So for now, we still can't tell if that was part of Anthony's subconscious delusion or if that demon says, oh, hey, no, there was some legit mysticism going on. It just, in the overall story, there wasn't. But still, the town has a history of legit witchcraft, and still, this demon caused the fire in the first place.
Right.
So, or maybe Anthony made it up because he saw the drawing on the wall. We don't know.
Yeah.
So it would improve the game immensely if that demon is a legit demon.
Right.
But it's still, the ending detracts regardless, unfortunately, because the whole stakes of everything that we were going through and all the rest of the zombie demons were definitely fake.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
So,
man,
overall,
what a fun experience with
Yeah.
a funky ending.
there's so much up in the air on it. It's hard to say anything is 100% at that point. Like that anything is actually the demonic possession, or is it just his psyche slipping?
Right, or trying to find ways to forgive himself.
Right.
That part also is a little bit hard on suspension of disbelief because he knows he didn't purposefully try to burn his family. Even if some of the townspeople were idiots and they're like, "Die, get out of here! It's your fault."
Oh
like,
yeah, and he was
the
found
evidence
innocent.
exonerated
like,
him.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
he knows in his own head, like if it was like some other people who were, if his own family who held him accountable, and somebody else had lived, and Megan lived and said, it was your fault the whole time.
Right.
Then maybe. But if it's just the town and he knows, no, guys, I literally went inside to risk my life to try to save people.
Exactly. This scar that I have right now is trying to save my family. Exactly. So he knows, and he's out of this town now. Like, he's exonerated. He's innocent, found innocent. Like, he shouldn't have to deal with this anymore, especially not as an external source. Like, no one, I don't think from other towns are going to be coming to come blame him for this thing that he obviously didn't do.
Right.
So
why he's blaming himself and having to find a way to be at peace with this seems a little bit strange. If he had run screaming from the house and not tried to save anybody, maybe. If the police had not found the evidence that the doll thing started the fire and printed that evidence publicly for the whole world to see, maybe. But these things did happen.
Right.
I don't see why this dude is blaming himself. He might be messed up over it and be sad about it, but like I don't see him blaming himself. Like he might feel total remorse, but not a sense of guilt.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like, that would obviously, that would destroy someone as a person to watch your whole family die, obviously. But, he did, I think, almost everything he could have done. And I think that was pretty evident. And for him to be racked with this guilt and for it to be, kind of unprocessed for, 30 years, 40 years like that, and it just all snaps into reality right there. It's just, there's a lot of things that have to happen for that to actually work in that way, and it just, I just think it just doesn't mesh. It doesn't really make sense there. But
so there's a lot. It's an interesting idea for a twist ending. You can do the delusion, alternate personality kind of thing, and it's been done in fiction before. Spoilers for other things. But it can be done really well. It can be very interesting, things like that. But in this case, it wasn't done well.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it just didn't work out as the ending. We really, really, really had a great time playing the game. So, the game overall was a lot of fun. The story overall, the ending kind of kills it. So, but anyway, thank you very, very, very much for the recommendation. The horror, everything going through up until that last episode was so great. It was amazing.
Exactly. It was awesome. I really loved playing the game because the story up until that last episode was so great. The gameplay was fun, story was fun. I loved it up until that very last point. So, I think still a good recommendation for sure because we had fun playing it. So just because the story ended up taking a hard left turn, that was really the only reason that I didn't like it as much as I could have.
So thanks again for that, Mr. AI. Really cool, really fun experience to play through, and we still like these really intense story kind of scenarios. So if you guys have other recommendations, definitely keep them coming.
Yeah, and again, if you have any other games that you'd like to see us play, feel free to recommend them. And I guess other than that, we'll see you guys in the next game.
And that's the end of our show. It's time for night and day to go. Thanks for sticking with us, guys. But it's time for our show to end. See you next time, friend. Have a great weekend.
Yes, indeed. I guess that'll be the end. We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah! Have a beautiful day, weekend, night, morning, whenever you watch this, wherever you are. Exactly. Have a good one.
Yes, indeed. We'll see you guys next time.
Cool. So we're going to get to see the hanging version.
Oh, interesting.
Man, she really knew how to tie a scarf.
Yeah.